Hey guys, thanks for tuning in today. So, we have heard the saying before that your net work is your net worth. And while I agree with that statement to some degree, I've also seen the way that we won't pursue our big dreams because we think we don't have the right people in our network. And when that happens, what do you actually do? And how do you expand your network easily? I'll give you a hint. You just might have more access to greater networks than you think. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys, I've got a fun one for you today, and I cannot wait to hear about if this becomes an aha moment for you too. You see, what had happened was I was chatting with this gal during her coaching consult, and she tells me all about this like dream business she has been wanting to start for years. And while she's telling me, she's first off, like, she's kind of like giggling. She's making comments about how, oh, I don't know, Brittany, you're probably just going to think it's crazy. Like, I don't even know if it's a thing. I bet it's just a crazy idea. I bet it's probably so silly. Okay, first off, like in my brain at this moment in time, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I love crazy. Sign me up. This woman is going to be so much fun to work with. And then, second off, I'm thinking, because this is just how my brain works. Okay, you're welcome. Who the what the ever made this woman like this very like clearly bright, brilliant, like very successful corporate woman. I mean, 30-year career here. Like, who made her believe that her dreams are so crazy that she's almost like embarrassed to say it out loud? Because like I'm gonna mm, I just like, you can tell it's a little bit of a trigger for me. Like small minded jerks, right? And unfortunately, like now I'm going to say, like, obviously, okay, I do get riled up here about that particular piece because I think it happens so much. Like, why this woman wouldn't pursue her dreams because of others is not the point of my story. However, I just want to mention it just because I know it's all too common that like we will talk ourselves out of our dreams because somebody else makes us believe that we're crazy. And that's like the biggest disservice to yourself and to humanity that you could believe such lies that are meant to keep you small. So I know I digress here. However, just like I said, it's a trigger, and if you ever feel like your big dreams scare or intimidate the people around you, then there's your sign. Like, get new people around you. Okay, back to the story. So she starts telling me about her like quote unquote crazy business idea, and I can't help but grin from ear to ear because it is it's a pure stroke of brilliance and passion that is like radiating out of this woman's voice. Like, no doubt she was meant to do something in this space that she has just been dreaming up. Now, obviously, come on, I can't give you all the details of her incredible business idea because her dream is totally in the making right now. I will share, though, these two details in just what she said to me for the sake of like the rest of the episode, just so that you can put yourself in her shoes and you can identify if you are also potentially sitting on your own big dreams. And whether that's like building a business or pursuing a relationship, or maybe it's like moving to a different state or getting the degree or whatever it is, I just want you to see if you can relate to one of her biggest concerns and the reason that she hasn't yet taken action towards her dream. And that concern was, she says, Brittany, I just don't even think I'd know enough people to make it work. For Pete's sake, I want to do something with therapy dogs, but I have 30 years in corporate HR and no experience at all with therapy dogs. I wouldn't even know who I could talk to in order to get insights or clients. Did you catch what she said? And have you made yourself believe it too? Her biggest concern was that she didn't know enough people or who she could even talk to in order to get insight to have success. Do you believe that? Like, do you believe that for yourself? I mean, to some degree, right? Like it makes sense why we would initially have those kind of thoughts. Like for most of us, our day in and day out routines look the same and they involve the same set of people. Whether it's the people in your home or the people in your office or the people who you just like communicate to weekly. Like you probably only primarily see the same group of people. So, how could we ever think that could be enough to do more and to like equip us to actually go out and pursue our dreams? So, it makes sense. And yet, I want to offer up an additional perspective. So, my conversation with her, it just reminded me of a story that I had heard a long time ago. And I'll tell you the story. So, it's about this little kindergarten girl, okay, who this little kindergarten girl, she loves going to school and she loves her teacher, Miss Jones. This little girl would talk about Miss Jones all the time and how she was the best teacher ever, and how Miss Jones always would wear the same pink jacket, and how the little girl wanted a jacket just like hers one day. Well, one Sunday, the little girl and her mom are walking through the grocery store, and out of the corner of the little girl's eye, she thinks she sees someone who kind of looks like Mrs. Jones. But this woman is walking with a man and a child, and she definitely doesn't have on Mrs. Jones' pink jacket. And just as the woman starts to get closer, the little girl starts to realize that it is, in fact, Miss Jones. And all in that moment, she becomes aware that Miss Jones, oh my gosh, Miss Jones isn't just the teacher, but that Miss Jones is apparently also a wife and a mother, and she grocery shops on Sundays, and she doesn't always wear a pink jacket. Right? Like, how often are we thinking like that little girl in the story, where even we are guilty, okay, of putting people into boxes in the small ways that we interact with them? Like, I'm trying to think of some examples. Okay, so maybe it's like, okay, Sally is just the engineer that I work with, or Rob is just the guy at the gym that I train with every once in a while, or Marcia is just like the greeter at church, or oh, Craig is just the neighbor. Like, right, all these people that kind of could come to mind, for instance. But what if we were willing to expand those interactions and in turn expand our awareness of not only the actual people who we spend so much time with, but to actually like deepen our relationships and our own possibilities by allowing people to be more than the small box that we want to put them in. Kind of cool to think that maybe Sally is the coworker who also, I don't know, has a passion for biking and is training for her first triathlon, and who would love to share notes on her training schedule if you two ever wanted to do something like that. Or what if Mr. Rob from the gym, I don't know, maybe he actually used to like own his own law firm specializing in trademarks for small businesses. And all of a sudden you happen to be looking for some legal advice for your business. And maybe like that's a place that you could actually start. And I could go on and on and on with examples, but I bet like you're getting the point that Miss Jones is not just the teacher. She's as whole and as expansive as you are. So, when you're thinking about your dreams, Like, how do you actually expand the network that you already have? And I think it's by literally just focusing on the folks that you already know before you even have to go out and get into new networks, right? So, my easy piece of advice, like start, like, how do we actually do that? Like, start being more authentic and showing up as your full self too. Like, if you're looking for places that train with therapy dogs, like, you've got to start letting people know that, I don't know, maybe you had an interaction with a therapy dog and you thought it'd be so cool, like, to work with those animals. And then you just pause and you don't even have to ask questions. Like, I think sometimes we get up in our heads and we're like, "Oh, I don't even know what I'd ask. Like, what am I supposed to ask? Like, do you know anyone who works with therapy dogs, or do you have a therapy dog?" I'm laughing because that would be an HR nightmare. Don't actually ask somebody that. Okay, sorry, my bad humor. Anywho, so like you don't have to actually ask anything, because if someone has a genuine, if they have an interest, or if they happen to know someone who maybe knows someone, the human nature is they will automatically jump in and offer it. So there's no need to be shy about your dreams. Now, this is an episode for another time to say, like, hey, you don't go gallivanting all over town, telling everybody your dreams. Like, there is, there's what is the word I'm looking for? Like situational vulnerability, situational authenticity. But you can start like showing up and slipping in those little details to see if those little nuggets that you drop, if they get picked up. So, like another example, okay. You think that you might go back to school for that degree. Maybe it's in a totally unrelated field. Cool. Start sharing that general interest. Like, you don't have to say anything with some like big statement of conviction or commitment or anything. Like, just start sliding those real pieces of your desire into conversations. And you may just be surprised, like, who also has an experience or connections that they want to share. And sure, thinking of the another example too, like, okay, maybe while you're pumping iron with Rob at the gym, like you randomly mention, yeah, I'm looking for some trademark advice for my business. He could totally look at you sideways and just tell you to do more reps, not even acknowledging your sentence. But I guarantee you, watch, even in the awkwardness of a silent ignore, at least you opened the door. And then don't be surprised when Mr. Rob comes back weeks later and randomly asks you, hey, you're still looking for trademark advice? Because I just picked up a new client and they say they do that stuff. I could totally give you their contact information. Boom. Yes. Crazy stuff like that happens all the time when you create space and opportunity for expansion. You never know who knows who or who knows what. Like, each of us, we are each our own universes of hidden talents and stories and connections. In fact, crazy here, I myself actually had a dear friend who had started a nonprofit working with therapy dogs that I was able to make a connection for my new client with. You see, you never know. And all she did was simply share her big, crazy dream with a stranger. And so, in our unjuggle summary today, this is just your friendly reminder that your big dreams are meant for you. And sometimes the crazier and the bigger they feel, the better. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to chase those dreams and to ditch like the people who aren't, or the mindsets that aren't, or the limiting beliefs that aren't willing to go to that big space with you, because they're just keeping you small. And your network, okay, and the people you already know are the best place to start expanding and working towards your dreams. Because the people you already have in your presence are more than just a school teacher, right? They have their own set of hobbies, stories, knowledge, experience, and connections that you may not even be aware of if you haven't yet gone first and just showing up authentically and opening that door. I think we often all live in the she's just a school teacher mindset. And we now know, right, that that's just simply not true. So the aha moment here is just like being resourceful with the network you currently have is a heck of a lot easier than attempting to go out cold turkey into new spaces. So start where you are. And before you know it, what's going to happen is you're going to expand far beyond the networks you thought you needed and right into the communities that you actually need the most to bring those dreams to life. One connection is going to lead to the next. It's going to lead to the next. It's going to lead to the next. Like you've got this, okay? And then, hey, really quick, like before you go, I just want to let you know that I've got something special I've been cooking up. So, if you've ever started or if you've ever considered starting your own business, I'm actually hosting a free live training. It's called the Find Your Profitable Business Idea and Take Action Without Overwhelm. If you've got that crazy business idea that you're not even sure if it could be a real thing, then I would love for you to join me for that hour so that we could create clarity around that idea and then actually create a plan on how you could launch that dream business. So please check out the show notes if that would be something of interest to you. You could choose the date and time that works best for you and just reserve your spot for this again for free training. Also, you can check out brittanytalinci.com for details and I will see you there. So until next time, bye. Hey, thanks for listening to today's episode. It means the world to me that you're here to ride in the struggle bus with me and that you're willing to consider different perspectives, tools, and techniques that just might provide a little bit of relief and get you one step closer to the abundance that is available and waiting for us all. I hope you take a moment to grant yourself some grace where you've been denying it, some love where you didn't realize maybe it was right in front of you, and some faith where you thought all was lost. If this episode had an impact on you, would you please share a comment with a review? I'd love to hear what landed for you, and it helps us get the word out to our fellow struggle bus riders. So please review what was impactful for you. Just know these episodes are a pure labor of love in a space where I'm growing alongside you. I'm evolving every day, and I look forward to all the ways and the things and the perspectives and opinions and choices that will change over the course of time in my own life, day to day. Until next time, just know that you are loved, you are divinely cared for, and in the struggle, the journey of this life really is beautiful. I'm glad that we're in it together. Cheers.